share my screen. Can you all see my screen? So, hi. Today we are going to talk about business English. Okay, so this is one of the most critical units of this course. So, what we are about to do is we're about to we are about to learn to use appropriate business language in professional contexts. Okay, so you can see the slides moving, right? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, nice, cool, thank you. So I really don't like doing lectures like this because um, I can't see you or hear you, right? It actually feels like talking into a void. Like in the classroom, we interact with each other, right? At least I can see whether you're nodding or smiling. Yeah, it's very difficult to teach like this, but we have no other option. So yeah, right. Okay, so today we are going to look at how we can use appropriate business language in professional context. So, as you know, we do not use everyday English in a professional context. Okay, we do use it, but like there are some things that are being added extra when you work in a professional setting. Okay, um, right. So and also, we are going to learn common business phrases and expressions. Okay, I will explain this in a little bit. And also, we are here to understand and correctly use widely used business abbreviations and acronyms. So, you will come to find that there are several acronyms that we use in a business related environment. Okay, so as you are hoping to go into the job market in the future and you will be probably working in a corporate office or a company owned by another person, or in a university, let's say, right? So either way you are going to have to adapt to the professional jargon that is spoken in that particular context. Okay, so that is today's aim, right? Okay, so what is business language exactly? The language of business is also referred to as the language of commerce or administration, right? So this is a subgenre or a sub unit of the field of English for specific purposes. We call it ESP. Okay, so what this means, English for specific purposes, means is that it is the kind of English that you teach to people of a certain subject. For example, let's say for science and technology, okay, there is a set of words and phrases and a set of ethics, okay, linguistic ethics that are being taught to scientists, okay. And when we talk about, let's say, um, pedagogical English, okay, pedagogy means to teach. Okay, so English in the context of teaching students. Okay, we call this English for specific purposes. That means the kind of English that you are teaching, that you are being taught, is specific to your subject. Okay, so if you're working in mathematics, the terminology that is used to describe mathematical concepts, that is called English for specific purposes. I hope that's clear to you. If something is not clear, either put it on the chat. Like if you have questions and you are pretty shy to ask, put it on the chat, or just unmute your mic and talk, okay? Or just you can raise your hand. There's an option for raising hands, right? Yes, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, I'll be checking the chat frequently so that I don't miss any of your messages. Oh, we have 48 people. Not bad, not bad. But like, I expect more people to come. Because I'm hoping you all are at home or like in your hostels or boarding places. Um, I think most of the lectures are online, right? Can someone answer me? Yeah, okay. You like putting in it in the chat instead of speaking. Yeah, okay, all of them. Oh, nice, nice. That means you are probably at home, right, with the ongoing crisis. So, yeah, I think it's pretty easy for you to join online because, okay, join online because it makes much more sense in a situation like this. And Trump doesn't seem to be ending the war any sooner, right? So, yeah, we are stuck in this situation for a little while at least, I guess. So, yes. Okay, so that is called, what we talked about is English for specific purposes. Okay, so this encompasses various areas such as vocational or VESL, language for business studies, and language for the study of economics. So, for example, like for vocational language for business studies, that means vocational means work, right? When you are working, okay, or professional, okay. The professional language for business studies, that means you are being taught various terminology concepts unique to business studies, and that falls under the category of English for specific purposes. Okay, so nowadays business is conducted in a more informal way. So, for example, when we talk about business settings in the past, okay, so it used to be really formal and very rigid, okay, set in certain frameworks that people should adhere to, okay. But today English in the business setting has become more, how do I put it? It has become more natural, right? And neutral, right? For example, you are dealing with people in a friendly manner rather than in a formal manner. Okay. So, for example, we have flat cultures now. That means everybody is equal. You don't call anyone boss or, sir, madam. We don't do that anymore, right? We call everybody by their name. Most corporate places do this, right? Um, so that is how English has evolved in the professional setting. Okay. So it has become a more neutral or a more natural language rather than a more rigid or very formalized language. Okay, so it has become Much better, I would say, because I don't think when you're working, I don't think you have to like adhere to all of these rigid rules that are set in place in terms of when it comes to English, right? So I think it is acceptable that you communicate your ideas using English, but in a very, friendly manner, okay, and a very natural manner rather than adhering to specific rules, okay. So that is just my way of it, okay. So, okay, when we look at the history of business English, right? How did this come to be? How did this start? Okay, so this is first and foremost, this is rooted in global trade and commerce. That means like when colonialism happened, right? The language that was used by the British, which was English, right? That came to that came to be of utmost importance, right? That means like the language that the British spoke became the language that everybody gathered around, right? For example, the Britain, like the British people colonized more than half of the globe, right? That means more than half of the world, and the language became really popular in several countries, okay. And it was actually um, needed or else required to acquire some sort of status in the society. So for example, all the good jobs, all the desk jobs for Sri Lankans were given to people who could speak English back in the days, right? So it became a necessity to sort of survive in the professional world, okay. And later on, when the British Empire fell, that means like every empire has to end, right? So the British fell, and a new leader, right, like a new leader arose, okay. This was United States of America, right? So they also spoke English, but they had a more technological approach to owning the world. That means like they didn't go and colonize each country, but they had a huge soft power. That means like they had a huge influence through business, through technology, through their art and culture, right? So this became um, like United States of America, the American culture became really famous in other countries. So that is how English was developed, okay. So it actually became dominant in international business communication. So, as the common language that was understood by most people was English, it naturally became uh, the global business language, whether we like it or not. So, I'm really not like entertaining this idea of English being the business language, but which I think like it shouldn't be, because then that limits the potential of a lot of people from a lot of different countries, and the language becomes a barrier where it hinders real talent from coming up, right? So that is a disadvantage, and marginalized communities or other cultures have no power to rise, okay. So because of the huge influence of English, so I think that is a downside of it, but we have to face it, like it has already become the language that is understood by most people, okay. So the rise of business English as a lingua franca means employees frequently interact with other non-native speakers. That means, so a lingua franca means the bridging language, or a language that bridges two communities that speak different languages, okay. So for example, to bridge the Sinhala and Tamil community in Sri Lanka, we have English. For people who don't understand either of these languages, that means like if I am Sinhala, I don't understand Tamil, I would talk to a Tamil person in English if he or she also doesn't understand Sinhala, okay. So that is called a bridging language. So the lingua franca of the entire world has become English. Okay, so we see a lot of interactions happening inside a corporate office or a professional setting where things are handled in English mostly. Okay, so this goes the same for all educational institutions and professional institutions and corporate offices. So this is why it's important to sort of understand why English is necessary in this day and age. Okay, these are some basic things that I'm pretty sure you know, but like it's good to know a little bit of the history, okay, that is behind all of this. All right, I'm hoping I'm clear so far. If you have any questions, just let me know. Oh, okay. You want an extension of the deadline? I'm not sure if that's possible because when is the deadline? Today is 27th. Guys, when is the deadline? 31st. Okay, so it's close now. I'll ask Mrs. Noriko, but I'm not sure she'll be happy because you had quite a bit of time to actually work on this. And you still have quite a bit of time left, right? So I don't think it'll be a possibility, but like I can ask. I'll ask and let your batch reps know so that, yeah, I'm pretty sure she won't let it, but I'll try. Okay. Um, right. Okay, so moving on. If you have other questions, just put it in the chat. Okay. Right. So the evolution of business English happened in a way that was not linear per se, but it was progressive. Okay. So the traditional business English was formal, rigid, and hierarchical. Okay. So that means it had a certain set of rules that people had to adhere to. That means, like, so for example, when we talk about the hierarchy of the company, there were certain terminology, there were certain terms that um, they used to address each other, right? To talk to each other, right? For example, sir, madam, those words that we no longer use, okay, almost. But when it came to the modern age of evolution, uh, English became clear, concise, and semi formal. So, for example, I have put an example in the slide below. So, as per our discussion, was how they wrote it back in the days, and then it became as discussed in the modern age, and the final age, which is the digital age, which we are on right now, right? That had a more faster and more direct communication, right? So, for example, as discussed became per chat because we now chat, we don't, discuss things, right? So, it became very informal, very informal, right? So, that means the evolution of business English happened in a way that kind of let the old norms go and kind of embraced new ideas and new ways of doing things. Okay, right. So, effective business language. So, this is a quote by Locker and Kienzler, who said in 2013 that effective business language is clear, concise, and audience centered. So, clear, concise, you probably understand already, right? Um, Okay. As this is the first time we are doing our report, can you please explain the topic of the report at the end of this class if possible? Okay, I will do that. That means you still haven't started doing the report. This is a group work, right? If I'm not wrong. So, yeah, I can explain what it entails at the end of the session. So, it will make it easier for you all to sort of. Wait, it's an individual. Wait. Which one are you talking about? Let me check. Ask Saranga and let you know. Okay? Because hi, so I'm back. So I asked the instructor and Mrs. Noriko. So unfortunately, a deadline extension is not possible, you guys, because um, we gave you enough time to complete the assignment, right? And Urdu holidays are coming up, and then I'm pretty sure you will not be able to do it within the given time, even if we extend the deadline. So it will sadly be on the 31st. So try your level best to sort of come up with your submissions before that, okay? And I will explain the assignment further in the towards the end of the session, okay? And also about the Turnitin reports. So you don't have a link that you don't have a link where you can like directly check your Turnitin score when you upload the assignment, but there's an option in the Moodle. Like if you go to the Moodle right now, if it's possible, you can see you go to your Moodle and then you go to the home tab, right? And towards the very end of the home tab, there's a section called activities, okay? Towards like in the right corner of the home tab, right? Um, Towards the middle of the right corner, okay? And in there, you have a tab called resources under activities. Can you all find that? Did you all find it? Did you all find it? You guys, can you answer me, please? Okay, so right. I will say this again because some of you seem to have missed it. Go to the Moodle, right, and go to the Home tab, not dashboards, Home. Okay, in the right side of the screen, of your right side of the screen, there is a section called Activities, right? Under that, there are two sections. Um, what is the first one? Forums and resources. Okay, there you go to, you click resources. Okay, and then you will see like a few links. On it, it says check your plagiarism reports by yourself. Okay, check your plagiarism reports by yourself, and then you have to go, like you have to click the link and then click enroll me. So they will enroll you. Okay. Then afterwards, you can actually check your plagiarism. You can upload your assignment to that and uh, check the Turnitin score and do the necessary edits. I think about three submissions are allowed per day. That means like you can check your plagiarism 3 times per day. Okay, it can be the same document, it can be something else. Okay, so you can do that and then submit it via the link on the Moodle. Is that clear? Is that clear to you? Okay, right. Cool. For those who missed this, please ask your friends and uh, clarify things. Okay. have access. This is what Saranga told me, though. I am not sure why it's not working. I'll call her and ask again because if you are here, yes. So spoke to Mrs. Noriko and Saranga. So you actually don't have access to the plagiarism checker on the Moodle, but what we will be doing is, please tell me whether you are okay with this. Okay, what we will be doing is we will be deleting the current link. Uh, that means the link where you have to submit the assignment. Okay, we will be deleting that and we will be creating a new link enabling Turnitin checking. Okay, so you can, through this new link, you can check your Turnitin score. Is that okay with you all? Because I have seen, like, I saw 3 people have submitted their reports already. Okay, the fact is that you will have to resubmit it on the new link. Is that all right with all of you? Can someone please unmute and answer? I can't just keep looking at the chat. Okay. Anyone who has a problem with that? Like the 3 people who submitted, I'm hoping they are here. But I will, just in case, send a message to batch reps that they can circulate among the batch, um, saying that there's a new link where you have to upload your stuff. Is that all right? Okay. If you all have any problems with it, just email me. Okay. All right. So you probably can't see my screen, and we'll get back to the lesson if that's okay with you all. Any other issues, just put it in the chat box. Okay. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes, madam.
Okay, thank you. Right. So, like I was saying, effective business language is clear, concise, and audience centered. So, we are talking about what we are saying is that the audience is at the very center of all communication processes, okay, in a corporate setting or in a professional setting. Okay, so one of the most important things, I'm pretty sure we have already talked about this in previous sessions, right? One of the most crucial things is the tone. Okay, the tone of how you say something or how you write something. Okay, so of uh, the tone of business English should be direct but still cordial. Okay, that means you can't be rude in your. Uh, excuse me, I have to take this. Sarang, are you okay? Hari, Hari Sarang, honey, thank you. Hari, bye. You guys, the link is now up on the LMS, the new link. So you can upload your assignments through that. And there's a Turnitin uh, checker as well, which is inbuilt to the link. So it won't be a problem. Okay. So let's look at this example that we had, right? So when you're writing an email to a potential employer, let's say this is the scenario which we take now. Okay. So when you think of like how you would ask it in an everyday setting, right? You will be really casual, right? You will be like, I think it would be cool to work at your company. What do graphic designers do? So this is a very informal way of asking someone what a job entails. Okay, and then there is a blunt way of asking it, like straight to the point, but still a little impolite and inappropriate. Okay, please tell me more about the graphic designing position at your company. So this is like very like straightforward, which does not work in a professional setting. It might work in dating or something like that, but like here it won't work. Okay, so the true way of asking, the correct way of asking is to say something like, I am interested in pursuing a graphic design position at your company and would like to learn more about the job. Are you available to discuss this position? My availability is below. So you are setting yourself up for a yes. That means like when you ask it this way, they don't have room to say no. Okay, if that makes sense. So you are also telling them that you are available at these times, which means that they won't have to send you another email trying to confirm your availability. And you are in the same email asking them what their availability is, right? So that is what is called being concise. Okay, you are trying to give and get as much information as you could through your interaction to avoid repeating yourself or to avoid wasting yours and the other person's time. Okay, so that is why, that is how business English becomes different, or it is sequestered from general English. Okay, right. So now we move on to common business phrases and idioms that we use in class. Okay, in a professional setting. Sorry. So what are common business phrases and idioms? So these are frequently used expressions that we use in professional settings to communicate ideas clearly and efficiently. Okay, you guys, I feel like if I explain the assignment right now, would that be more helpful for you if we get that out of the way first and then move on to the lesson? Or do you want to keep it towards the end of the session? What do you think? Is it okay if I explain the assignment now, or do you want to wait till the end of the session? Hello? It's okay. What do you mean it's okay? Like, end of the session or right now? Okay, whatever. Okay, yeah, because I feel like you all are waiting for that because when that nags at the back of your head, it might be difficult to sort of focus on the lesson. So I will do that right now and get that out of the way. Some people want it at the end of the session. Okay. Never mind. I'll do it right now. So that it will be easier for you all. Okay. Um, let me just. No, let me ask you which parts of this assignment do you not understand? Huh? Which parts are unclear to you? Because I can't go explaining all of this. Can someone unmute themselves and tell me? Guys, please respond because like I can't be talking into a void like this. You haven't been responsive at all today. Hello. Batch reps, are you all there?
Yes, madam.
What's that? They know.
Yes, madam.
Okay. What areas are unclear to you? Which areas are unclear to you? Okay, one person is asking, Madam, do we need to put like 1, 2, 6, 1? What do you mean? I don't understand. Like whether you need to number your subheadings. No, you don't have to number your subheadings. Okay. Okay. Just the topic would be enough. Don't number your subheadings. Do we need to explain what is organizational behavior or only the company information? Okay, so in your executive summary, you have to give an explanation as to what organizational behavior is, but very briefly. Okay, you don't need a lot of sections dedicated to that. Okay, just explain to, because some people who might read your report may not know what organizational behavior is. Okay, so you can define that, right, and say, this is what it is basically, right? And if you want to draw from other sources, you can do that. For example, if someone else has done an organizational behavior study on another company, you can draw that in and say, organizational behavior theory has been used to explain the structure of, let's say, singer or like keels, okay, by this person. Okay, so that is all right. But for you to go on and on about organizational behavior is not needed. Just a definition and how it relates to your report would be enough. Okay, right. I hope that's clear. Company information is of course needed. It should be the center of your work. That means like it should be the main highlight. Okay, the company information. Um, we arrange the title page. Yes, there's a format for arranging the title page. I will send you all that. Please, I'll put a note on my phone so that I'll send this through to the batch reps so you can get it from them. Okay. Okay. If I explain about leadership in subtopic, if I give small definition for leadership, it's that okay? That's fine. But like make sure that you're not over explaining, or make sure that you're not explaining something that is obvious to a lot of people, right? So for example, when you say leadership, I think that is pretty self-explanatory, because leadership is to lead, right, a group of people, or a single person, okay, or a company, right? So this is actually common knowledge, if I may, because it's not really something that needs to be defined. But if you are going in deeper, and if you are sort of trying to dissect what leadership means, okay, then you can do a definition. But it is not always necessary to provide definitions for all terminology, right? Like all of your terminology, if it's understandable by its own, then you can just go ahead with your report without explaining what the word actually means. Okay, I hope that's clear. If my explanations are not clear, please put it in the chat again, or just unmute yourself and ask. Okay, how to check plagiarism? I just told you how to, like, there's a new link that is uploaded on the Moodle where you can submit your assignment and check your Turnitin report. Okay, and then if the report shows more than, let's say, 15% of plagiarism, then you can. So 15% is the mark. Okay, that is like the limit where you can draw the line. So it can be less than 5% from 15%. That means less or more than 5% from 15%. So if it is around 10% to 15%, you are good. That means you don't have to change your content. Okay. But if it is more than 15%, that means you have plagiarized content in your report, and then you will have to take it down and redo it. Okay, redo the parts that you used ChatGPT for, let's say, right, and upload it again so that your score will come down. Okay, so this is an option, so you don't have to rely on external plagiarism checkers for this. It is inbuilt in the system on the Moodle. Okay, then please go through the new link, like the all link is no longer valid. Submit your assignments through the new link. Okay, I hope that's clear. The title page, I told you that I'll send you a format. If I explain about leadership in subtopic. Okay. What are the other questions? Ma'am, do we need to put like, okay, numbers you don't have to put. Okay, just the headings will be enough. Is it necessary to explain all aspects of organizational behavior? All aspects? What do you mean by all aspects? So, what do you mean by all aspects? So, I would say, here, so in the yeah, in the introduction of the assignment, if you have it open right now, it clearly says what you should be explaining. Okay, it involves analyzing various factors such as leadership, communication, motivation, decision making, and organizational culture to understand um how they influence individual and group behavior in the workplace. Okay, so I feel like if you can explain all of this, it would be better because these are the areas that are mentioned directly in the instructions of the assignment. So if you can cover all of that, it would be amazing, right? Um, Organization theory, productivity, employee satisfaction by applying theories and concepts. But you do not have to go into like very heavy detail about the last bit in the introduction, right, where it says OB aims to improve organizational performance, productivity, and employee satisfaction by applying theories and concepts from psychology, sociology, anthropology. So you don't have to bring in these theories and concepts into your assignment because that would be like a deeper dive, like that would be heavier subject matter you can't discuss in a single report, right? So keep it very I don't like to say surface level, but like keep it in a very investigative state, if I'm making sense, because you can't be analyzing these heavy theories in your report because it's simply not possible. Okay, but yes, it would be great if you can cover leadership, communication, motivation, decision making, and organizational culture. So these can be your subheadings. Okay, if I like say it out loud, these can be your subheadings. So um, within the section of within the discussion section, which is like the sixth, which is like number 6 in the instructions. Okay, um, these headings and subheadings can be the terms I explained above. That means leadership, communication, motivation, decision making, organizational culture. Okay, so you can within these subheadings you can explore how they affect or like how they impact individual and group behavior within the workplace. Okay, so you will like when you um, choose a topic, like when you choose a company, you will realize which areas are stronger and which areas are lacking. Okay, so that means like for example, when we say, hmm, how do I put it? Let's say we are talking about let's say we are talking about Mercedes Benz, okay, the company, right? So their branch in Sri Lanka. Well, let's say you are taking that company, right? Also, please make sure the company you choose should be in the LMD 100 list. Okay, you can get this list online. Okay, so pick one of the companies listed there. There are 100 companies listed. You can pick anyone you like, and then proceed with your assignment. So let's say we are taking Mercedes Benz, and let's assume that Mercedes Benz has a flat culture, which is very popular among other companies. That means like Mercedes Benz is known to have a flat culture. Okay. There, the organizational culture part of your assignment should be stronger, because they are actually, this is something that they are known to do. Okay, so there's a lot of things that need to be discussed. Okay, so for example, if you take BYD, the eco-friendliness is one of the biggest topics they talk about, right? So they are talking about an eco-friendly family, right? So that is also an organizational culture where they have this sort of familial sense, or the sort of familial interactions between their employees, where they come together to sort of save the environment or something of that sort. Okay, so when you pick your, we have, all the questions have disappeared. Ah, no, right, they are there. Oh no, I can't see any other questions. Can you please like send the questions again? Please send it to everybody, because like don't send it to me personally, because others also have to see like what you are sending. No other questions. Can we move on to the lesson? I guess there's no other. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, yeah, it's fine. Slightly lower is fine. Like 100 words more or 100 words less is okay. So the word count is 1,500 to 2,000 words, right? Ah, no, you have a window. So that means it has to be at least 1,500 words, and it can't be more than 2,000 words. Okay. You can't have 1,450 words, if I'm making sense. And 50 words is not a lot. You can actually like put one sentence and then it will amount to 50 words. So it has to be at least 1,500 words, or more less than 2,000 words. It can be a number in between, like for example it can be 1,600 words, it can be 1,750 words. Okay, it has to be within this window. Okay, I hope that makes sense. When we recommend something with our personal observations, have we to prove it? Not necessarily. So let's say, so this is like, I'm hoping, I'm guessing you're talking about the recommendations section, right? Because which this will come at towards the end of your report actually, right? So there, what you're doing is based on the details or the data that you have discovered, based on the information that you have listed on the report, which are actually observations that you did by looking at uh, other work, that means like maybe their website or maybe some other study that somebody else has done on them, right? Or maybe resources that are available online, right? That means like newspaper reports or like award ceremonies, something like that, right? So these are all data that you gathered by researching, right? But the recommendation section is for you to give your own recommendations for further improvement. Okay, but these recommendations have to be realistic. Okay, when you recommend something, it has to be doable, right? You can't just go ahead and say, I recommend that every company uh, adapts pick me, right? Every company gets pick me to transport their employees back and forth, right? So that won't work because some companies are not ready to adhere to that, right? But your recommendation has to be something that has a little bit of more weight, like that. For example, you can say, pick me can be promoted through an app where it gives a discount if you log in from the certain company's account, right? So for example, it can be a 20% off discount, and then the companies will be encouraged to use pick me more for their corporate transportation purposes. Okay, so that is a good way of looking at it. That means like you are not recommending something that is not incredible or unrealistic. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Your personal observations can definitely be in your recommendations, but just make sure that they are within the realistic realm. Okay. And also, you will have to explain why you think these recommendations would work. So, for example, to take the instance where you are promoting pick me in corporate spaces, an app would work better because most of the Sri Lankan community these days have like they use a smartphone and they are able to download an app through the app store, right? So that is a more effective way of doing it rather than just to, let's say, post it on a newspaper or something. Okay, so your recommendations have to be justified. Okay, recommendations aren't a must, right? Is it okay if we don't write them? Okay, it's okay. They are not a must. But when you finish your report, you will understand that there are some things that could improve. Okay, so I think if you have a recommendation section, that would be a stronger report rather than just, listing things that you found off the internet. So, mm, yeah, I think it is optional, but like I feel like your report would be stronger if you have recommendations after the conclusion. Okay. Even if you don't have a recommendation section, like a dedicated section for your recommendations, maybe you can add it into your conclusion, like leave the conclusion open ended. That means like leave the reader with a question that um, they are required to answer. For example, you can bring in, let's say, okay, I can't think of an example right off the bat, but um, let's say, you are promoting the company you picked is, let's say, Yardia, which is like the electric bike company, right? Um, and now at the end of the report, you are concluding with some sense of hope for the future. For example, you are saying now that the petrol crisis is here, and in the future is very unpredictable. Um, the shift from petrol vehicles to electric vehicles is going to become more paramount in the Sri Lankan context. So you are leaving a window open where you can say something like, you can actually, let's say, give a discount for electric bikes for all government workers. Okay, like the scooter discount that we had back in the days, right? If that, so if you suggest that, that would entertain the option that environmental healthy, environmental friendly options are a better way to do things, right? That means you are giving your reader a suggestion, that you are giving your reader the idea that promoting electric vehicles among government workers is going to help a lot to build the Sri Lankan economy, okay, to or to sustain the Sri Lankan economy, right? So that can go in your conclusion if you don't want to put a different recommendation section for it, okay, right? But I encourage you thoroughly to use a recommendation section where you will have at least something to say about what you found, right? And at least something to add to what you found. Okay, right. What is the maximum percentage of plagiarism that can have in the report? 10% or 15%? Okay, so 15% is the hallmark. Like that is the, it is the yardstick. Okay, so you cannot um exceed that. Okay, 10% is like even less than that now, so that is generally, like, definitely that is okay, but 15 won't be a problem, right? If it is more than 15, then it will be a problem. Okay, I hope that answers your question. So keep it below 15 if you can, right? 10 to 14 is fine, 15 is also fine, we won't penalize you for 15, but if it is more than 15, we would penalize you for that, right? So you actually have a very good chance to, like, sort of redo your work so that you don't uh, get caught, but even then we will be very lenient when marking, because I know some of these AI detectors are not actually accurate, right? Even Turnitin tends to give inaccurate results, right? Sometimes, so we won't be like deducting marks if we see it's below, like, see it's more than 15, right? We won't just uh, go ahead and deduct marks, but we would be reading your report and trying to see if we can detect any inhumane writing, right? So that we can penalize you correctly for that, if I'm making sense. Because I I should assure you that just because your Turnitin score shows 15%, we won't be deducting marks right away. Okay, we will be reading your report and we will be seeing what your insights are, right? So we will be reading your recommendations and your, the way you have referenced things. All of this comes into play, right? So don't worry about that. But just for the record, keep it below 15%. Okay. Right. If I only mention about organizational culture, is that okay? As it is asking about high performing organization culture. So, high performing here is an adjective used to describe these companies per se, because they are actually the top 100 companies, right? So, you get what I'm saying. So, that means, like, their organizational culture will anyway be high performing, right? So when you describe what organizational culture is, you don't have to include this term where you say high performing organizational culture all the time. It is high performing because you are talking about high performing corporations and companies. Okay, I hope that's clear. Is the recommendation part a must? Like I said, I already explained this, so yeah. What is the maximum percentage of? Okay, keep it below 15%. Okay. When you are using so Asinta is asking when we are using directly information from the annual reports that will be detected as plagiarism. How to avoid it? Okay, I think you already know this because you were there for the referencing and plagiarism lecture, right? Which was done by Mrs. Noriko, right? So I'll explain it again to make it clear to you. Can I? So if you're using directly, like if you're using data from their annual reports directly, and if you're taking the statistics right into your report, right? Um, and also this goes for other things that you take from other sources as well. Let's say you're taking something Daily Mirror has said about this particular company. Okay, so this person who wrote the Mirror article is the one who uh, owns that sentence. That means like they came up with that sentence, right? So if you are taking it into your report, what should you do? This is very basic. What should you do? You should reference it. Okay, the referencing style is APA if you didn't already know. So that means you are referencing your work inside your report. That means, for example, let's say you're taking information from Keel's 2025 annual report. Okay, okay, so take information from that and within brackets you are putting the in-text citation inside the report where it says Keel's Holdings 2025. And on the reference list at the end of the report, you are putting the detailed citation. Okay? Cited from the APA style. Then it won't be detected as plagiarism because you are clearly saying that you took it from somewhere else. Is that clear, Asinta? Asinta? Okay, cool, nice. So make sure to reference all your sources all the time, right? If you are quoting directly from anywhere on the internet, you have to reference it. Okay. Okay, so you don't have to refer. So if you are referencing something I said or like something one of your other lecturers said, you don't have to reference that. But if it is written information or if it is in a video, let's say, okay, in a YouTube video or a lecture done by a professor in England somewhere or like something of that sort, if it is recorded information, you have to cite it. Newspapers, anything. Okay, right. Could we use both in-text and listing Yes, girl. Oh my god. Okay. Did you not like Mrs. Noriko told this to you, right? Do you want me to like redo the lesson? Because referencing is if I say it the proper way, it is the most important lesson in the unit, like in the module. Okay. Was the lesson not clear to you, or like are you forgetting things that were being taught? Is referencing something that is unclear to you still? I want an yes no answer. Is referencing something that is unclear to you still? Hello, you guys. Okay, right. I'll make sure that I do a session on referencing for all of you. Okay, but until then, keep this in mind. Whenever there is an in-text citation, there should be a listing citation as well. That means your in-text citation should definitely be followed by the reference list at the end, right? That means they have to tally, like your reference list has to include all of your in-text citations. You can't just be you can't just say, let's say, Dharmasiri 2013 in your in-text citation within brackets, and you don't have a Dharmasiri in your reference list. That is absurd. Then people will not know where your reference came from. Okay, so the list of references is for the reader to understand better, or to reader to track your source. Where did you find the source? What is this source? What is the journal? If you just put a in-text citation in the middle of your report and don't explain it in the reference list, then that is useless. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so remember, an in-text citation should always be followed by a reference list. Okay, and also make sure you alphabetize the reference. You know the formatting methods of referencing, right? APA formatting rules. Yes, so that means like you have to indent 0. 0.5 hanging indent in every reference, and you have to alphabetize the reference list in order. Okay, so people starting from A, B, C, they should come in the, like they should come first, right? Not chronologically, but alphabetically. Okay, so yeah, font size 12, that is something that you know. Okay, so these are the things you should consider reference, when you put references in your report. Okay, any other questions?
Madam,
No?
madam, can you
Hello?
madam, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead with you.
Madam, if we are using any image in the madam, if we are using any image in the report, should we when referencing should we input the page number? Is it necessary?
Like if you are putting an image in the report.
Yes, if I get an image from the annual report and if I put it in the report, is it necessary to add the page number there?
Okay, what kind of image are we talking about? Is it like a graph or like statistical image, like a chart or something?
Yes.
then yes, you have to reference the page number, um, and also where you took it from. So for APA, if you are quoting directly from a page, that means if you are taking the image directly from that source and you are not changing the image at all, then you have to put where it was taken from. For example, your in-text citations should look something like this: Keels Holdings, comma 2012, comma P15, page 15. Okay, that is if you're directly taking that image from the report. Okay, if you're making your own chart or graph using the information that is on the report, you get what I'm saying? If you're making your own chart, or like you are making your own graphic, you're making your own graph. Okay, it can be, let's say it's a bar graph. Okay, so if you're making that, then you don't have to put the page number because you didn't directly quote from the report. But still, you have to, within brackets, put the source that you took the information from. So then your in-text citation should look something like Keels Holdings, comma 2012. That's it. You're not putting a page number because you didn't take their picture. Is that clear, Vidushika?
Yes, madam.
Okay, cool. Right. Any other questions? Okay, there's another question. If I take some keywords and explain by myself how I show reference, for example, I get core values of John Keel's holdings and explain. Okay, what? If I take some keywords and explain by myself. Okay, but I'm trying to look. Okay, I guess you're trying to. I guess what you're trying to say is that you take, let's say, for example, the core values of John Keel's holdings and explain them in your words. Is that right? Is that what you mean?
Yes, madam.
Okay, so then you can say something like in their official website or in their official annual report, it is listed or it is explained that their core values are these. These are their core values. So that you have to reference because you are taking that information from their document. Okay, but you can explain the core values in your own words, which does not need referencing. Okay, so every explanation doesn't need a reference. So let's say if you're talking about well-known facts about John Keel's holdings, um, for example, let's say, so Keel's supermarkets are moving towards a more green theme, right? It was rebranded to adapt a green theme, right? Their bags are green, their logos are green, everything is green. So that you don't have to reference because it is something that you already know, right? And probably your reader also already knows. Okay, so things like that don't need referencing. But if you're taking information directly from their sources, then yes, you have to reference it. Okay, but explaining core values doesn't need a referencing because you are doing that in your own words. So if you're copying somebody else's work, then um, yes, you should reference. But please make sure that you don't reference a lot of things. That means like your entire report can't be taken from somewhere else. Okay, just because you have references after each sentence doesn't mean that it is acceptable. Okay, because that means your entire report is sort of taken from somebody else's work. Okay, so your input has to be there, but we, like, you have to sort of, we call it sprinkle the references. That means like they are thrown here and there. Okay, but don't, do not rely on references. Do not rely on quoted content when you write your report. because it's you writing it. You have to like write it. Okay, right. Mm. The word count is, yes, the whole report, including the acknowledgements and everything. Do I get a photo related to the company? No, no, no. You don't have to. You don't have to. But like, you don't have to add photos in reports, if I'm making sense, because unless it's absolutely necessary, like, you don't have to put a photo of a Kiehl's supermarket in the report just because you have the photo in hand, right? If the photo is supporting the claim you're making, so for example, when you say, let's say, if you're talking about the Nexus app, Keel's Nexus app, okay, a screenshot of it, if it is needed to back up your explanation, to back up your claim, let's say, like, they are now adapting a QR code system, right? So if you put a screenshot of that, that backs up your argument, that backs up the information that you have listed, so then that is actually a necessary picture, right? That is actually a valid picture. But like, you can't be adding pictures just to make it like creative or something. Okay, but charts and graphs and infographics are a different detail. That means like, they are statistical data, right? So they can of course be in your report, but also to a limit. Like, don't make it overly long and image heavy. Okay, if I taken some data from a report and I rewrite by my words, do I need to reference it? Yes. So this is okay, this is where it gets interesting. So if you're taking some data from a report, that means, like, let's say you're taking um okay, so you are taking statistical data, okay, from Keel's last year's report. You're saying 50% of Keel's customers have downloaded Nexus or something. Okay, so this is a statistic that you found when you were researching for your researching before you write. Okay, so then this information goes in your report, but in your own words. Then what you have to do is you have to reference it, but you don't have to put a page number. Okay, then your index reference should look something like Keels Holdings 2025. Okay, so then at the end of your reference list, you have the full reference where you say report, annual report, Keels Holdings 2025, taken from HTTPS, like that. You put the link or something of that sort. Okay, so um, that means you are referencing from a certain source, but you are not directly quoting from it. Okay, then you don't need a page number. I hope that's clear. What is this? Anyway, madam, you mentioned plagiarism 15%. Please note that all submitted work will be subjected to plagiarism similarity index exceeding 10%. Ah, okay. So this is so me and Mrs. Noriko, we discussed that 15% is the actual mark that we are going to look at. But I think the instructions say this because like, because it makes you like do even less than the required amount. So I think that's why they say it in the instructions of the assignment. But like 15% is the mark, like 15% is where we draw the line. Okay, so yeah, don't worry if it's more than like 10%, but it has to be within the window of 10 and 15. If it's less than that, then that's extra good because anything less than 10% is definitely like not plagiarized. Okay, so don't worry about that. It's just there in terms of clarification for you to sort of get an idea. But the actual mark we are looking at is 15%. Okay. When paraphrasing, is it important to cite? So, paraphrasing is what I explained before. Okay. Paraphrasing is saying something in your own words. Okay. So, even if these are your own words, you still studied a specific source to say that. Okay. So, referencing actually works only for statistical data and for theory, okay, and facts, right? So if you are just saying something that if you're just making a common observation based on something somebody else has said, you don't have to reference it. That means, like, if it does not include statistical data or like factual data, or let's say theoretical information, then of course you don't have to reference it all the time. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, just because somebody has said it somewhere in other words, does not mean that you should always reference that person when you write your assignment. Okay, if that's clear, that means, like, if you're not citing crucial information, let's say, like, when you talk about statistical data, right, then you have to actually cite now, because there's no other way that you could have gotten this information rather than by studying a different source. Okay, so there it is necessary for you to cite or reference. Okay, but let's say you are listing out or you are describing general information that you found in the internet. Okay, they always don't, like, they don't have to be cited all the time. Okay, so for example, if we say, if you're talking about the hierarchy of John Keel's holdings, like how their leadership works, right? What are the types of positions or designations that they have, right? So these information, they are readily available, right? So you don't have to cite them and say, okay, um, this particular report said that there are this amount of designations in keels, right, in the managerial positions. You don't have to sort of always cite what you are writing. Okay, if I'm making sense. But um for statistical data and for factual data, and for data that is actually not um how do you call it, data that is actually not understandable, okay, or data that is not actually verifiable by other means, then you have to cite. Okay, so your only verification is the source that you cited, then you have to cite. But when you're describing general things. So, for example, like I said, uh, uh, one person has asked the question whether they can use, whether they can define the word leadership. Okay, so when you define the word leadership, you don't have to always take a definition of the internet, right? You can look at all the definitions and write your own idea, and you don't have to cite that. Okay, if you have any other questions, you can put it on the chat box. So we were unable to do this lecture, the actual lecture today, because you had questions about the assignment, which is due in 3 days, mind you, and you probably haven't started writing it yet. Anyone else has other questions, please? If I'm to um, explain the previous point a little bit more, because I think it might have been a little unclear to you all. Anything that you take from a different source, may it be data, statistics, ideas, right? Um, and facts, you have to cite them. But anything that you observe, anything that you suggest, right? Or anything that is common knowledge, which is widely known, right? Which is widely known, then you don't have to cite. Okay. So, for example, when you say Colombo is the capital of Sri Lanka, Colombo is the business capital of Sri Lanka, that is common knowledge that you don't have to take from somewhere else. Okay. I hope that's clear, right? So when you say John Keels is adapting a more green friendly outlook, that is also common knowledge. You can see it clearly, right? You don't have to take it from one of their reports. Okay. But for statistics, you definitely have to consult a source and you have to reference it in order to avoid plagiarism. Okay. Right. And also, another thing I wanted to let you know, like when you submit your report to Turnitin, and if it gives you like a big score, big plagiarism score, even if you did not plagiarize, do not be disheartened, because this is like a common error that is happening in Turnitin most of the time. So give it 2 or 3 tries and change some content and see what you can do. And then if it doesn't work, please tell me. Okay, like email me and say that you did not plagiarize, but this still shows as 30% plagiarism. Okay, so yeah. Yes, yes. You can. So I think there is an option where you. Wait, let me check. Yes, you can. Upon submitting, you will be. I think you will be redirected to the Turnitin website. I'll ask that from Saranga and let you know because I'm not exactly sure how this process works. So so give me a little bit of time. I will ask Saranga and let you know. Okay, for sure. Okay, so when we paraphrase from documents or reports, we have to cite it. Yes. So you paraphrase when you paraphrase from documents or reports. So if you are stating factual data or statistical data, then yes. Okay. So for example, you are like, I think what you mean is like when you take data from other sources because you can't take observations made by other people and claim it to be your own. Okay. So always consult sources to derive something that you don't already know. Okay, so it has to be something of substance. That means like it has to be something um, that is grounded in evidence. Okay, so when you take details or data from other sources or documents or reports or whatever it is, you have to always cite the source, right? But if you are not directly quoting from that, then you can just you don't have to include the page number. Okay, right? So yeah, if you are taking somebody else's work, you have to always cite it. Okay, so things I will get back to you on is whether you can still remove your submission after you submit it, no matter what your plagiarism score is, and also the title page formatting, right? I will let you know both of those things, right? And also, just to be on the safe side, like I hate to be telling you this, but just to be on the safe side, keep your Turnitin score like less than 10% if that because it says so in the instructions, but we came to a consensus that we would consider 15% to be like a safe zone, but still to be safe you can make it less than 10%. I will also confirm this with Mrs. Noriko and let you know. I will reconfirm it and let you know. Okay, right. So okay, we are out of time, sadly. Um, we couldn't do the lecture today. I'm wondering what we can do. Like, do you have any other like free time where we can reschedule the lecture and sort of finish it off? Few sentences without statistical details it need to reference. If you sentence which describe about the production of the company, what do you mean exactly? I didn't get you. If you use sentence which describe about the production of the company. Okay, let me do this. Like I will uh, clearly like make up a document where you can where I explain clearly what needs to be referenced and what do not need to be referenced. Okay, if I'm making sense, because like you seem to be a little confused in that area, And I'm pretty sure, like, when I'm explaining like this, you still have like a very vague idea because you have not referenced anything before in your life. So um, as this is your first time, it can feel a little bit intimidating and a little bit unclear when I try to explain it to you. So I will clearly make a distinction between when you need to reference and when you do not need to reference, so that it will make things easier for you. Is that okay? Will that work? Yes. Okay, right. Amazing. So I will make sure to send all of this information to your batch reps. Please get it from them. Um, and if you have friends in group A who are also unclear about what's going on, just share the material with them as well. Okay. Right. Okay. Can we reschedule the lecture? Someone's saying we can do it on the weekend. Are you all available in the weekend? No, we have to stay home and have fun. But like, can we please reschedule because we didn't get to finish today? Tomorrow will tomorrow work? Okay, some people are saying, we have mid on Monday. We have mid exam on Monday and Tuesday. Okay, how about oh, they only informed you before the day before yesterday? What? Really? Jesus. How about after Wednesday? Friday or Thursday? Like Friday, then we will have to do 4 hours, but like, of course, with a break in between. Or like, we can do morning and evening. Is that or which one do you prefer? You guys? Hello? Thursday is okay, it seems. You have lectures all day. Holy shit. Thursday we have lectures all day. Friday? Friday morning, same time. And what time do you have your maths lecture?